Welcome to Infinity QS's Tales from the Trenches. In this video series, we present real-life quality professionals discussing how they solved important quality and process problems at their facilities. These quality professionals get into the details and show how they leveraged Infinity QS software to solve the problems, including how they identified the root cause. Happy customers are vital to any business, and in today's episode, Quality Manager Ian Farrell will discuss how he used Infinity QS software to reduce customer complaints and save money at the same time. We hope you enjoy the video.
Hi, I'm Ian, and for the last 18 years I've been a quality assurance professional in the food and manufacturing industries. In this Tales from the Trenches episode, I want to talk about how to reduce customer complaints by identifying non-conforming product, but I also want to show you how I was able to reduce them further by using SPC to reduce variation within specification limits. So to do this, I'm going to introduce two concepts, the Taguchi loss function and Crosby's goalpost theory, to show how customer satisfaction is driven by more than just in-spec versus out-of-spec data. Lastly, I'm going to use an example that mirrors my experiences to show you how I used Infinity QS's SPC software as a tool to improve customer satisfaction. So there's really few things that are as frustrating as customer complaints on product that meets specifications. Customers aren't happy with the product. You spend a lot of resources investigating the root cause only to find there really isn't one, and management is unhappy with an investigation that yields no clear opportunity for improvement. Nobody wins in this situation. So across manufacturing, this is an all too common story, repeated by frustrated quality professionals. But wouldn't it be great if there was a way to not only understand what was happening, but to prevent it from happening in the first place? Well, I found a way to use Infinity QS's SPC software to minimize customer complaints. I know firsthand just how frustrating it can be to have customer complaints on in-spec product, and I want to take just a couple minutes to give you an example that demonstrates the problems I've faced and how I used SPC to tackle those issues. One experience that stands out in my mind has to do with the use of a processing aid to improve product consistency. When you make popcorn, you use a butter-flavored oil to keep the popcorn from sticking to the sides of the fill hoppers and other processing equipment, but it only minimally adds to the flavor and texture of the final product. As with most processes, the application of the oil was controlled by testing the oil content against an established target with upper and lower spec limits. This data was recorded on our Proficient software, but was primarily looked at just as a cost savings tool, not related to product consistency or customer satisfaction. It would have never occurred to me that it could also be driving customer complaints. From time to time, I would get a customer complaint for product texture and I could never find the root cause. Every sample I evaluated was in spec and passed sensory evaluation. It was not until I looked at the control chart data that I found a commonality between my repeated customer complaints. They were always in the A and B zones of the X-bar chart, near the specification limits for the oil content. Even though the product was in spec, the customer was not happy with it. It turns out what I was looking at was a classic case of the Taguchi loss function. I want to take just a minute and go over a couple of quality concepts with you. Cost of quality is the idea that products with poor quality are more expensive to produce. While the basic cost per unit may be low, when you factor in scrap, rework, returns, and lost sales, the cost of a low-quality product quickly eclipses the cost of a well-produced item. Philip Crosby introduced the idea that specification limits are what really matters. Quality is conformance to requirements. Now, if we think about Crosby's focus on specification limits and we compare it to football, we can talk about a field goal to explain our point. A field goal counts as 3 points if you're between the uprights and 0 points if you're outside the uprights. Crosby's conformance to requirements philosophy is very binary. You're either in or you're out. Genichi Taguchi, considered Japan's father of quality engineering, had a different approach to cost of quality. For Taguchi, deviation from target was the driver of cost of quality for a product. The farther from target, even within specification limits, the higher the cost of quality for the product. Again, if we look at sports, we can talk about archery, horseshoes, or darts, and we know that the farther from target we go, the fewer points were awarded in that situation. It's not binary like Crosby's conformance to requirements is. The Taguchi loss function shown here displays the increased cost of quality the further a product deviates from target. Customers, especially retail consumers and end users, are not likely to understand if a product is in spec or out of spec. They will, however, recognize variation in repetitive purchases and will move to other brands that exhibit consistency over those that exhibit too much variation. Now let's see how I use these concepts and SPC software to reduce customer complaints with in-spec product. My approach was not just to address out-of-spec product, but by utilizing the right SPC rules, alarms, and notifications to drive processes back toward the target before a spec limit violation occurs. This proactive centering of processes goes beyond the goalpost theory and leverages Taguchi's principles of the relationship between variation and quality to improve customer satisfaction, lower cost of quality, and even reduce costs in a host of other ways. Using Proficient, let's see a quick example of how to enable the features that support Taguchi's approach to customer satisfaction. From the alarm rule assignment screen, you can select the rules that will help you drive your process to target. Remember, every product produced closer to target is one that is more likely to be enjoyed by your customer. After you've selected the rules that best suit your process, head over to the Special Preferences Event screen to make sure you're set to email, print to printer, write to event server, or whatever method you use to alert the team of an incident. Proficient has many ways to communicate outside of itself, and the options to utilize one or more of them are easy to set up. If your company is using it, the next step is to set up the email alerts to send to the right people. From the Options menu, select Email and configure email alerts for the part, process, test combinations you're monitoring. Proficient is highly configurable and can get you the information you want when it happens in whatever format suits your team best. By using the ideas of cost of quality and the Taguchi loss function, I was able to reduce my customer complaints. By implementing an aggressive suite of SPC rules, I converted our mindset away from run in spec and toward run to target. This resulted in fewer complaints, but it also had some other benefits. We had less rework because we were staying further away from our spec limits, so when process upsets occurred, they didn't push us out of spec anymore. The biggest hidden benefit, though, was purely financial. We stopped running at the high end of our specification. We turned down our application pumps for the processing aid. Eventually, we even upgraded the pumps to units with better consistency and control. In the end, this had tremendous cost savings. The ROI on the pumps alone was less than a year. When you factor in the reduction of the use of processing aid, what started as a mission to reduce customer complaints had positive impacts across the organization. I want to tell you, not only was there tremendous satisfaction in a solution that improved both customer experiences and company profits, but it helped reinforce the quality department's reputation as an advocate for both customer satisfaction and profitability.
We hope this episode of Tales from the Trenches has motivated you to tackle customer complaint issues using InfinityQS software at your company. InfinityQS is always there to help. We have application engineers ready to assist you in getting the most value out of your InfinityQS implementation. Reach out to your sales representative for information and pricing. Thank you for watching, and check back soon for our next episode of Tales from the Trenches.